the vision and what is this expansion? So Huckleberry's has always had a very strong point of view, and I think it's gotten even stronger over the years, you know, with our pickle items and obviously expanding on the Huckleberry and things like that. And for us, it was, I don't know, just creating a really unique space. And so we're gonna be doing things like a signature banana split, old-fashioned milkshakes. We're gonna have a smoker right in the space. And you will have, you know, 2-3 hot items a day with some of Huck's signature select sides, maybe introduce 1 or 2 new sides, and then expanding on, you know, our grocery store items, our keto line, because we can never keep that in stock, so we really want to expand on that. And then one of my favorite parts will be in the back of that space, we'll have a private room called Paul's Table, where we're actually going to bring in my dad's dining room table. And so it will be, you know, a group of only 6 to 8 people. It'll be decorated with his artwork, everything from the farm. When we were cleaning and organizing here out at the farm, we found an old gas stove of his that used to be in our trailer. And so the room will have that, and we're getting custom dishes made with pictures of him and Grayson and his horse on it. And so that's going to be a really great space. We'll obviously serve Papa's food, family style. And so yeah, we're really excited about that space. You know, a little bit of a store. We'll have some signature items, obviously with our, you know, Alberta whiskey cake and cookies, and we have a signature candle being developed. And then the last space, so the end of the building, will actually be an event space. It's going to be called Huck's Ranch Room. And I think it's going to seat around 80-ish. We're still in the planning stages, but it's going to have a very rustic feel, very 1900s back bar, eclectic, you know, glass chandeliers and rustic wood floors, kind of that creaky feel when you walk into it.
That
and
old saloon feel.
Yeah, that old saloon feel, but with like obviously a warm, you know, tin ceilings and. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. The design concept I'm so excited about. So that's what is the expansion. And yeah, we're so excited.
Very excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Legacy for me, I think specifically to Huckleberries, is really about feeling. It's about family. It's about what we build together and what people remember when they leave our doors, that want to make them come back. At Huck's, we really are a family together. We have so many different people that have formed this relationship, and I think that's mostly what people really remember when they think of us, is what we've built together. Looking at Paul, the legacy that he has left for us has been fellowship. It's been a place to call home, where customers come in, and that's what they feel. It's the welcome, it's the warmth, it's the memories that are created there. When people come in and they say, this is where we had our first date 15 years ago, and we come here every year, and we sit at that table. That's how legacies are built, in my opinion.
Legacy means to me just going out there and making an impact for future generations. The impact that you can make, obviously, for the generations to come, the generations further on down the road, or the generations you don't even know. A legacy for me also means to lead by example. I think legacy is what you leave for people, and that is huge, obviously, but legacy is more so what you leave in people. How you treat people, people you know, people you don't know, and what Paul did, and we got to see that on a daily basis, and what we try to implement with our own family, is that you go out there and you leave a life of contribution, not just consumption. I think legacy also plays into vision, and vision comes before legacy. They say that someone's sitting in the shade because of what somebody planted years ago. And I think vision is a compass, it's a direction, it's a purpose of where you're going to go into the future. And I think the true art of a vision is seeing what others see as invisible.
Legacy to me is the foundations in which future generations are able to build upon, and the ideas in which that they are able to use to build what their predecessors or the people who started everything to do. And really, at Huckleberry's, Paul left a great legacy for the community to strive for, to focus more on the betterment of the community with the love and compassion that he shared. And we hope to continue to make this community better.
To me, legacy is passing down and continuing, carrying on all the traditions, all the ceremonies, my language, my culture, keeping it alive for my kids, my nieces, my nephews, my younger siblings.
Legacy. To a lot of people, I guess it is leaving something for future generations, particularly for those that have children. To me, I suppose it's making an impact, not necessarily for those to come, but even those that we've met here and now, impacting their future. Huckleberry's, to me, has been instrumental in changing the lives of many of those that I know and work with, as well as those that to many would be considered customers, and yet to us, and through Paul, who is a perfect example, became family and friends. To have seen over the past decade people who have shared their first date, to see them years later come back and book their wedding, to see that people have come in on hard days or on easy days. And the food is one aspect, but they come for the people, and to be able to interject just some small amount of comfort or joy in their lives is a mark on their world that I take great pride in being able to leave. I suppose to me that's the legacy of Huckleberry's. Through every bite, through every visit, you know, we interject ourselves a little bit more, and we're graciously welcomed into their lives. And they're not just customers, you know. Every week, every month, every year, we learn people's names, we learn their stories. And it's through the exchange of those stories that we build each other's legacies.
What I think legacy means to me is honestly the impact that I want to have on my family and, you know, friends and on the world, and what it is that I've left behind. I think, to me, a lot of those things, when I look at Paul and what he's left behind, I look at Paul and I look at legacy, I see integrity, I see respect, I see truthfulness, and I see, most importantly, love. I look at how he affected his family, how he affected his friends in the community, not just with Huckleberries, but it's something that expanded beyond that. When people came into the restaurant, they didn't come to just come to Huckleberries and have dinner. They came there to experience what it was that Paul had created. The environment of love. To me, that was the biggest thing, and to me, that's something that is definitely, when I think about legacy, is definitely something that will always stick with me for the rest of my life. Is his ability just to look at people and just have this amazing passion for people, but then this love that he gave to people. And there are countless people, and I think there always will be countless people who constantly come into the restaurant and just are always remembering that and always reminding me of that. And that to me is probably the greatest thing that I can think of when I think of legacy and I think of Paul is the love that he had given us.
Yeah, I guess legacy to me means what the mark a person leaves behind in the world, how people remember you, how you make people feel, the way people remember you when you're gone, things that you want to pass on to other people. I think that an individual's life story is basically their legacy. When I think of Huckleberry's and Paul's legacy, I always want to pass on the things that I feel Paul felt were important. Things like making people feel special, making people feel important, like they really matter to us here at Huckleberry's. And I think that the Huckleberry's family, all of our senior staff, especially in particular, do their best to think about what would Paul do in situations to make people feel like we are trying to continue with his legacy. And we want people to feel like Paul's spirit is still here with us. We had a staff meeting shortly after Paul passed away, and we were discussing how to continue the things that were important to Paul. And Tasha was commenting on, what would Paul do in these situations, and for us to think about what Paul would do in situations. And I was thinking, yeah, that's what would Paul do, but it was similar to what would Jesus do. And I know that when people think what would Jesus do, it's WWJD. And so I wrote down on my little paper, WWPD, what would Paul do? And it was, I don't know, it was kind of like a little moment for me that was how I would remember Paul when I wanted to think about how I could pass on the things that were important to him. And a little while later, as I was kind of glancing around at my coworkers and thinking what a great team we were here and how we always do our best to pass on Paul's legacy, I noticed that one of the other senior staff members had also written down WWPD, what would Paul do? And I think that is a great example of our teamwork here and how we all think alike about the things that would be important to Paul and how to pass on all those important things like love and, making people feel like they matter. So it's what your heart, how we make people feel in their heart, and that is important.
Where would you guys go toy shopping?
Toys R Us or Walmart.
Oh. And when would you go?
Almost every Thursday.
Yeah? What was Thursdays?
I sleep over at Papa's.
Yeah, almost every week since you were like 8 weeks old, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No special time to spend with Papa, hey?
Yeah.
What else would you guys do on Thursdays?
The diner.
What would you do at the diner?
Have pizza.
Pizza.
Legacy for me in terms of Huckleberry's and Paul. What Paul created with Huckleberry's over the last 29 years was more than a restaurant for sure. It was a community. Paul had this way of making everybody feel like the most important person in the world. He was definitely a true lover of people, and for us in the expansion and legacy-wise is to keep that going. Paul blessed so many people that walk through the door at the restaurant that we definitely want to pass that on to our son in the same way that he passed it on to us. And we definitely want to keep that same community of love and just truly loved people, and you always felt welcome there. So that's what we're looking to keep on and build on top of. So that's what that means for me.
What does legacy mean? Well, I think it can mean many different things. For me, when I think of legacy, I think of standing on the shoulder of greatness. So for me, obviously having a personal investment to my dad, I think he's created a phenomenal legacy in his ranch, in his restaurant, in his hospitality, in the way he treated people. His reach is just so far in how many people he knows. We've gone through, I think, 400 or 500 funeral pamphlets, and then we just keep putting them out at the restaurant. And so when I think of me, of what I would like to achieve for our legacy as, you know, mine, Jeff's, and Grayson's family, I think of my dad. I was explaining this yesterday to somebody. My dad's legacy is here, and I get to now stand on his shoulders and go farther, and to eventually one day for Grayson to then stand on our shoulders and go even farther. And I think that's the greatest gift my dad could have ever left me and us, because we don't have to start at the ground. We get to carry on we get to continue and carry on what he already started. So that's what legacy means to me. What is the Legacy campaign? Well, it's my own concept of a Kickstarter. I'd actually approached a marketing company to run a Kickstarter for us about a year ago when looking at a different expansion, and it was suggested, with our reach of 28 years, we do our own. When I drive, my mind turns into think, create, and imagine mode, and I've done a lot of driving lately. So the Legacy campaign was created. It's a platform that allows you, the customer, to not only invest into the expansion with rewards as their return, but more importantly, invest into the vision of what we feel people are looking for in Huck's community and culture. Different from a typical investment, this allows you to choose the reward that's best for you. It could be as simple as a bowl of dill pickle soup, a slice of huckleberry pie, and a coffee, or an all-inclusive 2-night cowboy glamping in one of our bunkhouses out at the PK Memorial Ranch, or a membership to the Pickled Pig. This investment is a return of product or service. Risk? Well, if for some reason the project didn't go through, 100% of your money would be refunded.